All right, and Sumit is now live with us from Davos for the very latest on this. And Sumit, thanks for talking to us this evening. Well, we've heard what the experts have to say about the IMF cutting growth estimates, but what else is happening in Davos? Now, this is, of course, happening at a time when there is such a churn in the world economy and Brexit is happening, that trade war between the US and China. So a lot of churn and then Davos happening in the middle of that.
Well, Bhairavi, this is my third World Economic Forum, and I can tell you that crises have never been so much in the world and the attendance thin as compared to the earlier years. But yes, there are crises looming large over the world economies. Politics is there. Well, the WEF Davos is meant to bring together politicians and businessmen to solve the problems. But it looks like the discussions will start today. Overall, if we talk about the World Economic Forum this time, there's a wave of pessimism because CEOs across the world are concerned about issues like global trade wars, also issues like the growing tensions between many nations, including the economic problems in Venezuela and Colombia. So these issues are there. There's dark clouds of these problems over the world economy. At the same time, Indian CEOs are quite optimistic because India is having a very positive momentum. It's a bright spot. It's in bright spot when compared to other parts of the world. So Indian CEOs are quite optimistic about their overall economy growth. The only concern they have here is the election year because they want to know who's going to come next so that they can plan their investments better. But overall, it's been a mixed response. Today is the first day. And going forward, we will be able to speak to executives, both global and Indians, and will know better the sense of economy and what they think about economy as a whole.
Right, and Sumit, to talk a little bit about today, now there are some top speakers who will be addressing Davos today, but also, as you're pointing out, many major absentees now, including we're hearing now that Saudi Arabia will also not, the Crown Prince will also not be there. So in the context of so many major absentees from the US, from Theresa May to the Indian Prime Minister, what can Davos really achieve when it comes to the crisis in the world economy?
Well, that's true that the many world leaders are absent here. At the same time, it gives an opportunity to the people who are left here, the people earlier, well, what we are hearing from many CEOs and global leaders, that earlier these leaders used to take limelight, people used to hear to them. But now the voices of other countries would also be heard. That's also important thing because inclusive overall global growth is the motto of WEF here, and they have to now ensure that inclusive growth happens. Now the small countries would be heard. Well, talking about India, Indian contingent is not here in very big number, but other countries are here. Ethiopia, African, other countries, Chad and other small countries, they are quite hopeful. Now their voices will be heard. Otherwise, these big leaders, Macron, Theresa May or Trump, they steal the limelight. This time, the other leaders can also present their views, which will be heard across the discussion rooms in Congress area as far as Davos is concerned. What we are not missing this time here is the snow. The snow is there, which was there earlier. Also, it's more colder than last time. So the snow-peaked resort of Davos is actually in its full glory. And you can see behind me the crowds are here. The overall markets are buzzing. The overall buzz is still as there, except the absence of these four top leaders.
All right, Sumit, thanks very much for that. And you, well, take care of yourself. Don't get a cold there. Thanks for that.